helping colleague, a loving senior, and a thorough gentleman. You would be wondering that the program is going on, Prashant Chaturvedi is there, but Kabir ji has not come. So today I will bring Kabir ji here. साधु ऐसा चाहिए जैसा सूप सुभाए सार सार को गही रहे थोथा देही उड़ाए. That means you need one good person in life. Sir, I'm going to translate in English the meaning of this particular line. You need one good person in life who is like a wheat husk separator. He brings out the good qualities of you and will remove all demerits from you. That is my boss, Prashant Chaturvedi. Ladies and gentlemen, a power packet of Messer India, Prashant Chaturvedi, head Oxyfuel business. Put your hands together for Prashant Chaturvedi.
Thank you, Arun.
My pleasure.
I'll see the letter in the month of June is a little bit improved one. I never heard so many good things about myself. And gentlemen, thank you very much. I have a little responsibility of taking you through a small story that I need to share with you. But looking at the presentations, generally my colleagues used to say, Prashant, after your presentation, we feel nervous to go and present. But let me be very honest with you. After all the presentations of my colleague, right from Prem Kumar, Balaji, Rohit, I'm a little nervous now. Very good, wonderful presentations from all my team. And gentlemen, the little story that I'm going to talk to you about, and then we will relate it to our everyday affair, is about an incident which occurred almost 10 years back in Mumbai. 26th of November 2008 was a very important or a very tragic incident in the city of Mumbai. And this story actually comes from a LDP program that we are conducting. And we were really touched about the training and the derivatives that we can take out of this story. And what I thought is, why should we keep it for the next rollout, and why don't we share this story with all our distributors, channel partners, and friends and colleagues from the factory who are also not attending the LDP. So my friends who have attended the LDP program already know this story, but it's a wonderful story to really think about and learn something after that. So let us run through this story, and what I'm trying to tell you is, on 26th of November 2008, a group of 10 terrorists attacked the city of Mumbai, which was earlier called as Bombay. They broke up into groups, and they attacked many locations. One of them was a Leopold Cafe, and another location was the 110 years old, iconic, most beautiful hotel in Mumbai, the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. For 3 nights and 2 days, there was absolute havoc. There were these terrorists with automatic rifles, grenades, backpacks, and to keep them agile and energetic for 3 days, they were having the bunch of almonds with them in the backpacks, and they were actually running a mahem in this hotel. Let us have a closer look at what actually happened then.
The evening of November 26, 2008, was a typical busy Wednesday for the Taj. More than 500 guests were registered at the hotel. Another 500 to 600 were attending functions in banquet halls or sitting down to dinner in the hotel's 10 restaurants. Shortly after 9 p.m., an explosion rocked the Leopold Cafe just around the corner, less than 200 meters from the Taj. 2 young men pulled out automatic weapons and began firing. Crowds at the Gateway of India and along the street in front of the Taj panicked, many rushing the doors of the hotel. In the ensuing chaos, 2 heavily armed terrorists circumvented the metal detectors and entered the lobby. They were soon joined by the two attackers from the Leopold, who broke through a back door.
9:35 or 9:40 was the first call I got from one of my chefs. And I think some shooting is taking place. A person has been shot dead outside my restaurant. Then we heard another gunshot, and I told him on the phone only, I said, just close all the kitchens, all the restaurant doors.
They were banging the door. They were alerting everyone, come out, otherwise we'll shoot you. There were few guests who, they were scared and they came out by putting their hands up, and they started hitting them, they started harassing them. It was horrible.
The situation, the entire scenario was very scary. We couldn't judge at that time what is exactly happening in the hotel.
It was a literally war situation. You can hear grenade lobbing around. You can hear the gunshot also.
We did not know the scale of the attack. We did not know what exactly was going on, where they were at that moment. And there was total chaos. My colleagues were trapped with guests in various places asking me what should we do next.
500 registered guests checked in into the hotel. 600 guests in different banquet halls. They have around 10 different restaurants having different functions, maybe similar, one of them like what we have here. And then 600 employees of the hotel. Total 1,700 people in that grand hotel. What was happening was a complete havoc, a nightmare. Nobody would be prepared for that. We don't know much of the things what has happened there, but what we know were many people in this staff members who were young, 24 years of age, young parents, young mothers, somebody having children waiting at their home. And this 600 staff members were the people who knew the hotel very well. And any psychological study, if we have, would tell us that nobody would stop in such a situation. They would just run off because they are the one who knows all the exit gates. When you go to this hotel, you actually don't find your exit very quickly. But for the staff members, they knew all the roads, all the exits. How do they get out of the kitchen? How do they get out of the fire exits? But the story is, in the whole havoc, none of them left the hotel. Out of the 600 people, not a single employee of the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel left the hotel. Is it not an incredible story? How could 600 people, employees in such situation, who were only working for 2 years, 1.5 years, some trainees, 6 months, maybe 10,000-12,000 rupees a stipend, were risking their life for no reason? They knew the exits. Let us look what exactly happened.
Calming frightened guests and assisting in their rescue. Many even came back inside after leading guests out of the building. Members of the hotel's team of telephone operators, originally evacuated, voluntarily returned to their stations and stayed on all night.
They became the hub of communication at that point. They were the ones calling every single guest room, talking to the guests and telling them to stay in, don't step out, lock your door.
As the terrorists roamed the halls, telephone operators instructed trapped guests to pull their key cards to turn off the illuminated occupied button in the hallway outside their doors.
The attack started at 9:30 in the evening. Till 4 o'clock they were answering guest calls. I think that speaks a lot for a hotel under attack.
Among the guests at the Taj that night were members of the Global Board of Directors and senior management team of Unilever, who had gathered along with their spouses to honor incoming and outgoing CEOs.
So we had this really elaborate 7-course meal, and that was sort of the setting, the mood. There was warmth, there was laughter, there was a perfect setting for a nostalgic farewell and a perfect setting for a nice welcome. And I heard what seemed to me, which is an untrained ear, like firecrackers in the hotel.
We started getting these text messages and phone calls. There were some gunmen on the loose. The only logical thing to do was to close the doors and just stay put.
Malika came to us and said, We think there's a problem. We're not sure what exactly it is, but I request all of you to be on the ground right now. The level of calm and composure that the staff displayed was amazing, was absolutely amazing, because they had the presence of mind to even advise us saying, couples, please separate, don't stay at the same place, just be in different corners of the room.
65 lives at stake, so can't take a chance. So obviously we were in touch with security all the time and had a lot of alcohol in the room, so that helped a little.
This went on the whole night. We were on the floor with our hearts in our mouth, with debris falling all around us, the noises of firecrackers all around, and all through the staff kept their composure, kept coming to us saying, do you want some water, do you want something?
Well, I was scared, but there was something more important to be done.
And this went on till 4 or 5 in the morning when the room filled with smoke. So we had no choice but to find a way to escape.
The entire corridor outside the hall was on fire. There was no way we could get out. The fire guys were outside and they were dousing the fire on the 6th floor. And we happened to see Mr. Kang downstairs as well. So he sort of ushered the fire guys to us.
We sort of climbed onto the ledge and did some stuff which in today's normal day I wouldn't be able to do, but we sort of came onto the ledge, climbed down to the ladders which by then the fire brigade people had come. The staff insisted that we would go first, guests would go first. And they kept like that till all of us had come down, and then they all came down.
Well, in a way, because I was there, I was looking after the function, I was responsible. I could have been the youngest in the room, and I know at one point of time I was the youngest in the room, but I was still doing my job.
The easiest thing for our staff to do at that point in time was to drop whatever they were doing and run out of the hotel. Not one did that. Not one.
I come from an army background, not myself but my father, he retired as a general in the army. And he often used to say, when I was even appointed here as the general manager, he used to often tell me that you are now like the captain of the ship. And I think that's the way you think, that you are the captain of the ship, and you have to be the last one to leave, and if it sinks, you sink with it.
At some point, our kitchen brigade decided that it looked like a lull in the thing and they could be taken out from the back of the kitchen through the fire exit to the back road. And our chefs had formed a human chain to escort people in the darkness down those stairs. And as hundreds of them were being evacuated, somehow 2 of those terrorists got to know that this was happening. And the terrorists arrived there and saw these chefs lined up, herding people away, and there was mayhem. They cut loose, and that's where we lost our biggest numbers there. We had 5 or 6 of our chefs gunned down, but they took the bullets.
Said that they risked their lives in just making sure the guests were safe.
I don't think we would have made it out of the hotel without the support, the assurance, the constant service orientation that the staff provided, without doubt, which is why we will continue to be so grateful to them.
I can't explain it. There were no manuals, there were no instructions for what should be done under the circumstances. So what seems to have happened is individuals, from the waiters to the managers of the restaurants, all had this goal of let's get the guests to safety.
Everybody had a goal, just let us take the guests to safety. Gentlemen, this case study was studied at the Harvard Business School, and the professor on customer relation, Mr. Rohit Deshpande, did an extensive study on this incident, and he tried to relate different companies and the employee behavior. When he asked this question, that how many of the employees should have been in the hotel after this incident, the largest answer, the highest answer which came was maybe 100 can stay back or they are stuck up somewhere. We saw none of them left the hotel. In fact, we found that few of the people, they escorted the customers outside and came back to do that. Who would do this in such a situation? Just to reiterate, 500 registered guests, 600 banquet guests, and 600 employees. Almost 1,200 people in this. When Professor Rohit Deshpande went back to Harvard Business School and asked to his students what should have been a psychological behavior to do all this, there came different answers. One of the answers was that this must be the little culture in India, because it comes with a big background and the guest is treated as a god and something like that. It has some sense. In our tradition, we call as in Sanskrit it is said, Atithi Devo Bhava. A guest is next to the god. But was that the only answer? Because guests are everywhere. Few answers came, okay, it must be a very corporate culture of Taj Group of Hotels. Yes, it is one of the best known companies in India. Somebody said that, no, they have very huge employee motivation scheme. They must be getting the highest salary. They don't want to lose the job. The study showed that Taj Mahal Palace Hotels, the ITC group, actually pays only 15% more than the average salaries of the hotel industries in India. Then came an answer, maybe it is the hospitality culture. Because you are in a hospitality industry, you do that. But are these answers all true? Professor Rohit Deshpande came back to India and studied through the entire process of recruitment and behavior and how do they really keep their employees motivated. Frankly telling, when you heard Mr. Ratan Tata, who is head of the Taj Group, he himself had an answer. And he said, very important line if you have captured, there were no manuals that I have given to my employees to how to behave in such a situations. So every time, behavior of an employee doesn't come by a manual, doesn't come by a policy, it comes within, is what we can learn from this story. All right? Gentlemen, what also takes us a thought in the complete process, when he studied the entire detailing of this particular incidents, he came out that the recruitment process also is very important. Taj Mahal Palace Hotel does not recruit people from major towns. They go to small towns and search people who have a requirement of a job, who really need to work to fulfill the needs of their family. Number two is when they search, they don't go by academics. What they study is who has the right attitude to actually take care of the students who are very well taking care of their parents. Actually, they try to hire them. They have a very strong and benevolent HR department, and they hire students who have actually the right attitude. And thirdly, the most important, their training process is really, really very excellent. The training is such that the employee own, and they have come up with this incidents we can study, that a lot of time, the frontliners, he can be the front desk manager for a very big hotel, but the real brand ambassador is the one whom you actually interact. The hotel may be a 7-star luxury, but if the front desk manager is very arrogant with you, you don't care about the digital footprints of that hotel. So the people in the front whom the customer really interact are the most important people for us. This is my story. Thank you very much for all the time.